Good. Alright, so we're doing a bit of a different type of video today. Who are you? Where are you from? Why are you here?
I'm Miles Daly. I'm from Durango, Colorado. I've been attending Select Generation Summer Camp in Salamanca, and I'm here to read you a poem I wrote.
So we were just talking then a little bit off camera about feeling deep, and I think for a lot of people, I guess emotions are something that you don't really talk about or you try and keep to yourself. And I know obviously we're not going to go into kind of everything that we just spoke about off camera, but I think it's really interesting your perspective. Why do you think that you feel deeply about things, and is there anything that you would kind of give advice to your younger self?
Feeling deeply is something that I can't really explain still. I don't know why certain things connect with me more than others, but I'm grateful for it. And if I had to give younger me some advice, it would be to embrace being able to feel deeply, because it makes life more beautiful. Even through ups and downs, there's always going to be lows. That's part of life and what makes it precious. But being able to look at these things from another lens of extra depth and perception allows me to find more beauty and more kind of just in presence in moments.
God, you're like a philosopher, Miles. I wish I spoke like that when I was your age. Go on, let's have the poem. So what's the poem about? Just to give it some context.
So this one I wrote when I was the second week here, and I was kind of feeling a little bit. It's when I started witnessing some homesickness, and I was just brought up some unresolved emotions that I still had. So I wrote it about accepting depth as beauty and flaws, and how that's what makes life precious.
Awesome. Let's go for it.
I turn on this song.
Yep.
Okay. Depth is beauty. There's something beautiful about being human, not because we are flawless, but because we never were. We are all unfinished things, half-written stories, collections of places, songs, and conversations. We are made of old summers, late-night talks, mistakes we still think about, people who stayed, people who left, and people who changed us without ever knowing. And somehow, none of that ruins us. A tree does not become less beautiful because the wind taught it to bend. The ocean does not apologize for leaving marks on the shore. Mountains do not hide their fractures. Why should we? You are not the worst thing that has happened to you. You are not your regrets. You are not the version of yourself that only existed to survive. You are something stranger than that. You are every version of yourself, all at once. The child, the dreamer, the person who hurt, the person who healed, the person becoming. Maybe that is why life feels so heavy sometimes, because to be alive is to carry entire worlds inside your chest. People tell you not to feel so much, not to think so deeply, but I think they misunderstand. To feel deeply is not a weakness. It is to stand in front of existence and allow yourself to be moved, to hear a song and remember a season, to watch a sunset and feel grief for moments that have not yet ended, and to look someone in the eyes and realize they are carrying a universe of their own. What a strange thing. What a beautiful thing. And yes, life hurts. People disappoint you. Things end. You become someone you never expected to become. You lose versions of yourself. But pain was never proof that life is ugly. Pain is often proof that something mattered, that something touched you, and that for one impossible moment, you were alive enough to care. And maybe that is enough. Maybe the point was never perfection. Maybe the point was always this: to sing too loud in the car, to sit in nature, to laugh in the wrong moments, to stay up too late, to love people imperfectly, to become. To leave little pieces of yourself in places and people, and to trust that this is not loss, this is living. So forgive yourself for changing, for not knowing, for mistakes, for becoming someone different than you promised yourself you would be. And one day when you look back, I hope you realize nothing beautiful in nature stays untouched, and neither did you. That was never your failure. That was always your becoming. So love yourself, not despite your scars, not despite your depth, and not despite your mistakes, but because of them. Because they mean against impossible odds. You were here, and you felt it.
Is that your poem? You wrote that? Wow. Well, so first of all, I can really relate to that at the moment, because I would consider myself quite emotional and I get quite caught up, and I've had to learn to take a deep breath before saying things and taking decisions. But what does that poem mean to you? Or what does that poem, when you were writing it, how did it make you feel?
It's something that allowed me to express the way I handled and I held sadness and sorrow in my hands. At many points in my life, it was a really heavy, kind of just dull feeling of not knowing and feeling discontent and lack of energy, typical things with sadness. But expressing emotions through words like that allows me to kind of transcend this barrier of not knowing what your emotions are trying to convey, and just express kind of like almost my soul in a way. Like, words have a really powerful thing in my mind. They're a really powerful way of describing emotions and intricate kind of details, and I don't know how to say it.
It's interesting. What stuck with me about the poem is I like good metaphors and good descriptions.
Yeah.
So when it was talking about like the ocean doesn't apologize for leaving rocks or marks in the shore, and then also what you said was like if something makes you feel painful or something affects you, it means that you cared about it. And I used to think a lot of times like if someone wasted my time or if someone kind of screwed me over, that was like fuck that person, or you should like be resentful. But just because you cared about that thing or you had a feeling towards that person or that situation, you should appreciate that because it meant that that was making an impact in your life, you know? And when you say about like love yourself, I learned to love myself probably like 2 years ago. So when I was living in California, I was drinking a lot of wine because I was living in like the wine region. I was going to the shops and eating whatever. I would go to football training, but I wouldn't work out. I wouldn't like do anything with my body. And then when I moved to Miami and I went full time with Select, I stopped drinking. I went sober. I started working out a lot, and I would say that's when I started to love myself, when I really like followed my passion and was making an impact. And it took quite a long time to understand, because also like I think emotions and mental health, like it's not really something I ever thought about. Like I was always happy. I thought, like I was with my friends, I was in college, I was earning money, I was, you know, working, had a good job. But like looking back now, that was probably the time when I was most unfulfilled, because I was just going through the motions and I didn't have any, it wasn't intentional, just living, it wasn't really like doing. So when you talk about like being in touch with your emotions and understanding like how you're feeling, like I wish that I felt how you felt at your age. Was there a point where like you, when would you say has been like the most that you've like learned about yourself? Was it like a summer? Was it like a point in time? Was there anything where you were like, okay, now I know myself better?
I would say it was probably the last year and a half. Last year and a half, I went through a few heartbreaks with girls. I did kind of similar things that you said. I went to some parties. I did things I regret, and I think kind of live and learn. But those experiences help you to find who you truly are, and kind of point you in a direction that would be where you should be. One of my favorite quotes by this guy I follow on TikTok is, the purpose in life is to give your life purpose. And little things like that really resonate with me, because I think they're a short phrase that carry a immense load with it, and a way to convey your life.
I think it's important too what you said about like your choice of words is so important for how you portray yourself. And I used to do a lot of throwaway comments like, nah, you'll never play D1, or nah, I don't think you should focus on D1. And to me, that was just like, I was thinking in my head, like, you're not ready at the moment, that's going to be a waste of time because you're going to get rejected a lot. But how I should have phrased it was like, okay, I don't think you're ready now, but you could be ready if you take the right decisions. So I think also like the choice of words that you use and how like emotional you are and about your decisions that you take and what you're feeling. Like, it's okay to be emotional, like it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be happy, but you need to feel those emotions, because if you can't feel those emotions, if you can't articulate, it's going to be very difficult for you to build relationships with people, with a girl, with your best friend, with your mum, with your dad. I think your choice of words is so, and I didn't really appreciate that until recently. Like how important your words are. You know, there'll be so many times where your friend said something to you and you'd be like, did he really mean that? Or did he really say that? Or what the hell? The coach told me today that I'm shit. Did he really mean that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I relate that a lot. There's been a lot of moments where kind of being a deep person has helped me in social situations like that. When most of the time it's teachers or a teammate or a coach will make a remark that may come off the way they're not intending, but it could very easily be interpreted as like a very blunt kind of way of saying things, like you mentioned. But being able to think about these emotions and particularly how they're feeling and how they must have meant it, and kind of put yourself in their shoes, being able to articulate emotions in speech and situationally like that really helps whenever dealing with people.
So what's next for you, Miles, in terms of your life, your career? You're here in Spain.
No idea.
What do you want to do?
I ask myself that question a lot. I have interests. I'm already in MA in medicine. I think I mentioned that to you. I'm interested in law. I'm interested in business. Obviously football, but I guess the next steps for me are to continue to learn about myself and better myself and develop as a person, as a player, as a son, as a friend. Continue to better myself and learn who I am or what I want to pursue.
What advice would you give? Because I think there's a lot of people your age, my age, older people that are, especially as a man, that are worried to speak about their emotions, that are worried to see what their friends think, that are like, oh, if my friend or a girl or my mum sees or my dad sees me vulnerable talking about emotions, they're going to think I'm different or I'm not a man. What advice would you give to that person that's scared to talk about their emotions?
That I can almost guarantee that every person on the face of the planet has felt some form of these emotions sometime in their life, and if they're going to criticize you and belittle you for speaking out about how you feel and something that is innately human, then fuck them. And
you don't want to be their friend anyway.
No, they're not worth your time or effort if they're not willing to go through the lows with you and enjoy the highs.
And how would you, let's say you were going through a tough moment and you wanted to tell your friend, you wouldn't go up to your friend and say, hey, I'm feeling really sad, or maybe you would. Like, how would you first off approach your parents or your best friend about your emotions for someone that's like, I want to do that, but I don't know how?
Me and my buddy have a really open relationship with communicating, so if something's wrong, we always tell each other. But so for him, I would probably go up to him and say, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I know I can come to you with this. I've been feeling this way lately. I was just wondering if you had a perspective on this or what you think I should do. Because my parents, I'd just be really open as well, because I think that they're raising a child and they're aware that teenagers have pretty complex emotions and problems. So just being open, being honest. Honesty is always going to take you further than trying to circumnavigate whatever you're feeling or whatever you want to come off as or portray. And so just being open and honest and speaking your mind.
Good one, huh?
Yeah.
That was good.
That was fun.
Top man, Miles. That was good. I like that. It was good.